Hi everyone, John Davenport here from Photogrammetry.com with another Let's Edit video. As you can tell from this photo on the screen here, we're going to be looking at a lightning bolt photo today. But before we get into that, there were a lot of questions as to just how I set up my camera and what I did to capture these photos. So I thought I'd spend a couple minutes and just kind of go over that process. If you really don't care, just fast and forward a bit, and once you see me crop this photo, you'll know that I've started editing. So basically, the whole idea behind capturing a lightning bolt is that at night it's a lot easier because you have the ability to work with longer shutter speeds. So you can see here I used a 20-second shutter, which really allows me to get as much possible time for that flash to occur and for me to capture it. I used f9.0 to help increase that shutter and also to allow me to get pretty sharp photo throughout the frame. And then I actually wanted this to be 11 millimeters. I thought I had it set at 11 millimeters, but I wanted a wide focal length because I wanted to capture as much sky as possible, which would again increase my chances. If I had a 50 millimeter lens, I might only get this part of the sky, and that would really limit the area that I might be able to capture a photo. So I'm using my wide angle lens here to really enable me to get a good chunk of the sky in the photo, and thus enable me to possibly capture a lightning bolt. And then ISO 100, again, I want low noise, I want long exposure, so I just set it at ISO 100. So moving on, when I set this camera up, I set it up out my window. You have to open your window. You can't, shoot through a glass window, because when that flash occurs, you're going to get reflections and you're going to get water droplets. Same thing for a screen. You have to shoot with nothing between your lens and the sky, basically. So I literally just opened my window. I had a little piece of cardboard that was kind of keeping the rain out of my house, and I set my camera up. Most of the new Nikons are built have an intervalometer built into them, so I set my camera up to fire continuously for the length of the storm, and then after that I ended up looking at all the photos. So I honestly had no idea if I caught anything or how anything was coming out until after the storm. The only thing that I did know was that this is what a photograph of just the sky without a flash looked like, and I did that on purpose. I wanted to underexpose the photo without a lightning bolt because I knew that once that very bright flash occurred, we'd get a photograph that was a little better and something that I could bring out and make pretty awesome. So now we'll jump into how to go about editing this photo. The first thing that I decided was, because I have this this house and this road and the light post and the fence, I didn't want any of that in the photo. So I just went and I decided to do a 16:9 crop, and I cropped in pretty tightly here, something like this. You'll notice that I'm leaving a little bit of the street light and a little bit of the house in the frame, but that's okay because it's not a lot and we can get rid of it pretty quickly with the cloning tool. Just clone those two things out there and we're good to go. So now the idea of editing the rest of the photo, you can see there's a couple other things I need to get rid of. I'm just going to do this really quickly. Just a few little splotches here and there, whether they're water drops on the lens or, I don't like this last one, just get rid of that. Water drops on the lens, sensor dust, what have you. Just get rid of those really quickly. And then we're going to jump into our basic tab. As usual, you know that I like to quote-unquote feel my edits, so that's what I kind of show here. Because the lightning bolt is on the majority on the right-hand side of this frame, the first thing I'm going to do is actually bring in a graduated filter from the left-hand side. I'm just going to reset everything here. And then I'm going to bring the exposure up just slightly and maybe add a little bit of highlight detail. And what this will do is it will actually allow me to kind of even out the exposure throughout the frame so that the right hand side isn't so bright and the left hand side is all covered in shadows, because you know the lightning bolt's obviously going to expose its side of the frame so much brighter than the rest of the photo. So I just wanted to do that really quickly just to kind of even everything out. If you know, some of my other photos I had lightning bolts going across the entire frame, and in those cases I didn't have to do something like that because the photo was exposed evenly throughout. So anyway, now I'm just going to drop the exposure just a little bit. I'm going to add a whole bunch of contrast here. I'm going to add some highlight detail. I'm going to drop the shadow detail a little bit. Add some whites because, you know, we want that nice bright white for the lightning bolt. And I'm going to leave the blacks. I'll probably just leave the blacks alone. I'm going to add a little bit of clarity to really sharpen it up a little bit, and I'm going to add some vibrance, just a little. You can do that. You can go the other way with it. I've kind of played around with black and white a little bit. I do kind of like the look of the black and white with this lightning bolt. It's a very nice high contrast color, but I'm going to stick with the color one for this edit. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is play with the white balance. For my own personal taste, what I did was I just took, you know, the normal as shot setting and I just cooled it off just a little bit to bring some blues in. Some people might like to go with kind of a crazy little orange sky here. You can remove some magenta, you can add some magenta in. You know, you can do all sorts of cool things with lightning. I'm just going to leave it something like this. Of course, that's white balance is one of those areas where you can really express your own artistic creativity. So feel free to experiment with that. And now, finally, I'm just going to come down here really quickly to the Detail tab, and I'm going to increase the sharpness quite a bit here. I'm going to increase the radius to really bring the sharpness out of that lightning bolt, and again, increase the detail. And you'll see the sharpness really starting to come in the whole frame. And then once I add a whole bunch of masking and I tell it that all I really want sharpened is the tree line and that lightning bolt, you can see this is something like this. And I think this looks pretty good. I mean, you know, there's so much more you can do. I played with these for so long trying to get them to the point where I wanted to publish them. So it's really just a matter of you know, tweaking everything and then going back to it over and over again until you get it to where you want it to be. Ultimately, it's really up to your final tastes and what you want to get out of the photo. So I hope you learned something today. I know we did a little bit of theory behind how I capture the photo and then a little bit about editing, and it's all crammed into this video that's less than 10 minutes long, so it's a lot of information in a very short amount of time. Feel free to watch it again if you missed something, and if you have any questions at all, leave a comment below. I am planning to also do a longer, more in-depth tutorial on my website, written, you know, typed up or whatever, so it'll be something that you could read and really kind of dig into. And that'll kind of go through the same things that I've went through here, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Either in that post or even if that post has already gone live, I'll gladly comment and answer them again. So please like this video, please share it, and if this is your first time watching Photography on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe. Have a great week, and I'll try my best to get out there and do another video for you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.